Hello, neighbors, and welcome to the Circle City Cast, a podcast written and produced by the Indianapolis Mayor's Office. I'm your host, Director of Community Outreach, Natalie Van Dongen, and every month I'll be giving you a behind-the-scenes look at your local government and connecting you to the resources we have here in Indy. So with that, let's get into this month's episode. Today, I am so excited to have Director Wilson from the Department of Public Works joining us. Prior to taking my current position, I actually came from the Department of Public Works, and I have so much love for DPW. You all do so much. You are a massive department. So to get us started, I was hoping you could just give us an overview of what DPW is and specifically how the department interacts with our neighbors.
Very good question, Natalie, and a very loaded question at that, I might say. Talk about your time here at DPW. You are sorely missed at DPW.
I miss you all too.
Thanks. But I know you're doing great in your current role. DPW, it's more than just filling potholes and moving snow. DPW is one of the largest departments in city government here in Indianapolis. It includes our engineering division, operations, solid waste, policy and planning, and fleet. So what does that mean? That's over 700, close to 800 employees.
Wow.
Within the enterprise. The engineering part is focused on our public infrastructure, our roadways, bridges, sewers, our trails networks, things like that. We also worry about in engineering our stormwater management, and drainage, and also other regulations and standards that we have to abide by, both federally and state and local. Our operations department, although we do a very good job at snow removal and pothole filling, that's not all that operations does either. We help support our park system with mowing and cleaning. We manage the tox drop program for the county. And we also do special event support. The City of Indianapolis is a very big special event conference city, and our operations folks are a big part of making sure that those conferences and events are successful. Moving to solid waste, which is a huge part of DPW as a whole. You got to remove snow and remove trash in order for a city to work. And that's a big part of what we do over there. We have our own union staff that collect trash in our center township, and we have vendors that we manage throughout the other townships around the county. Excited to say that next week we'll be opening up our new state-of-the-art solid waste garage.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I actually just came from there before I come to this podcast. So
how's it looking?
It is looking great. Yeah.
So
we
excited.
Furniture moving in. This weekend we'll have a mandatory day where all the trucks will actually be parked now inside the facility. The facility has a large truck wash, so we'll have some clean trash trucks driving around the city, and we're very excited about that.
That's awesome.
And then, so I mentioned policy and planning. When we think about policy and planning, we think about the community-powered infrastructure program. We think about our financial, our CFO, and, how do we pay the bills? How do we make sure that we can fulfill our contracts and stuff? And that's what policy and planning helps us with. And then our final division within the DPW will be fleet services, where we support and maintain over 5,000 vehicles in the city's enterprise. So,
and those aren't just DPW vehicles,
right?
They
are not just DPW. Those are IFD and IMPD vehicles, animal control, and divisions within the enterprise.
Well, thank you so much for that overview. Now that you've told us a bit more about Indy DPW, I want to learn a little bit more about you. How did you arrive in this position? How did you become the director of DPW?
Well, I would say it was quite organic, if you will. I started very low at DPW and 2011. Before that, I was in construction inspection, and I would work on projects all around the state. Got the opportunity to join the DPW team in 2011 to do some project management support. Was able to get hired on. I was a consultant at the time, and just worked my way up. Stepped up when I could. I worked on some really cool projects during my career. Like maybe the World Sports Park on the east side. I know there's a big push in the Ballard administration for cricket. I also worked on a really cool project at the IUPUI campus where we converted Michigan Street and New York Street from one-way to two-way conditions. I went to school at IUPUI, so it was really cool to work on a project that affected the campus that I was at.
Talk about full circle moment.
Yeah, very much so. Other than that, I did a lot of projects around the county for many years, and then I did leave DPW for a moment. I went to the state and was a director of engineering for DNR, and then I went to the private sector and ran a construction inspection department for a local engineering firm. So that's kind of how I started in this. It was really cool to get a call from the mayor's office, seeing if I was interested in taking the director's position, and I enthusiastically had the conversation with the mayor's office about that.
And we are very thankful for it. So I'm curious, you have worn a lot of hats within your professional career. How did those experiences inform the role that you have now and kind of your day-to-day operations as the director of DPW?
Yeah, I think holding those hats and being in positions through your career of taking responsibility, making critical decisions, working well with others, working through challenges with others. I think things like that help prepare you for a leadership role similar to what I have here. Trying not to sweat the small stuff. I've been saying that a lot lately. And, there is a lot going on with DPW, and, you can't get too stressed over stuff that you can't control, but you got to be present with your staff and with what's going on. And that's what I strive to do.
Yeah. And I think you're doing a great job. So as you are very well aware, we have seen a lot of snow this season. I think our neighbors have been very cognizant of how our plowing process has changed and kind of what to expect now when it comes to snow plowing. But I'm curious about your take on what comes next. And by that, I mean, how does all this snow impact our roads?
Yeah. Well, Indiana and City of Indianapolis is in a region where we have significant freeze-thaw cycles. We just went through several weeks of below zero temperatures, and then that snow melts. We get rain. You want to know how potholes are made or how they are formed? Well, that's basically water getting inside the pavement itself or underneath the pavement, and then during our freeze-thaw cycles, that water within that pavement will expand. It'll cause the pavement to buckle, and then that's where you get more water infiltration, and that cycle just continues, and the holes get bigger and bigger and bigger. The city of Indianapolis is not unique in this world. Any cities within this kind of freeze-thaw regional climate are dealing with the same things that the city of Indianapolis is doing. Asphalt is, we've been making asphalt the same way for generations. And there's no secret sauce to it, if you will. Hot mix asphalt is basically gravel and sand mixed with a bituminous or a oil that is heated up, and placed, and when it cools down, it hardens. We use hot mix asphalt mainly in the summer or spring, summer, and fall times. They do have temperature restrictions on use, so if it's too cold, we cannot use that HMA or hot mix asphalt. During the winter, like now, where we have very low temperatures, we use what is called a cold mix asphalt, which we are able to use that. It does not set up as hard as a concrete or an HMA, but it allows our crews to be able to fill potholes during the winter when we don't have the availability of getting that more permanent hot mix asphalt.
Okay, HMA, hot mix asphalt.
HMA, hot mix asphalt.
You're bringing out the engineering background. I love to.
Yeah.
I love to hear.
Get a little geeky or technical here, so
I love it.
apologize.
I love it. So what I'm hearing is, that freeze thaw cycle. The same reason my tire light is on and off and back on is what's causing our potholes.
Yeah. It's essentially that's what it is. It's we try to do our best to prevent it through, basic resurfacing of our roads to prevent the water to get in there. We also employ like crack sealing activities to help prevent water. But basically, it's as simple as that. Water gets under the pavement and causes the pavement to expand and buckle.
Gotcha. And crack sealing, that's all the lines on the road, all the squiggles?
Yes.
Okay. Very good to know. Okay, so we've covered a lot of what our operations crews are doing, and we are so thankful for them. We know that they've been out very, very long hours, those 12-hour shifts plowing snow, and then it's immediately into patching our potholes. So thank you to our DPW operations crews. I want to pivot a little bit and talk a bit more about the engineering side of things. Mm-hmm. Specifically, we're gearing up for construction season. What are some of the projects that you are the most excited about this year?
Yeah, I got a special place in my heart for engineering within the entire Department of Public Works because I spent so much time there. That's kind of my background, but I'm excited about the 2026 construction season. We're going to definitely hit the ground running. We'll start with some of the emergency strip patching here in the next few weeks as the temperatures start to change a little bit and make it so that we can actually use that hot mix asphalt going forward. Mm-hmm. Very excited about this program. We have scheduled approximately 50 different projects going to be scheduled to bid in 2026. That'll be on top of some of the work that we had bid out late last year that will be active this year. A lot of neighborhood streets around the county will be resurfaced. At the end of last year, we had over 72 street segments within our residential network that are bid out, and so a lot of people will see their neighborhood streets resurfaced this year. We also, some of the big projects that we have coming is the 29th and 30th Street two-way conversion. Both of those streets are one-way pairs. So 30th Street is an westbound street and 29th Street is an eastbound street. So they'll both be two ways. We'll also be adding pedestrian and bike facilities on 30th Street as well. So it'll have a protected cycle track. And so we're excited about that. Bluff Road on the south side will be another big project for the city. It's addressing a lot of drainage issues and a roadway that has just gone past its useful life. So excited about that. The folks down on the southern half of the county are very excited about that project. We're looking forward to the Eagle Creek Trail as well. We have a project there where we are extending the Eagle Creek Trail. I think this is the last of the two segments that we have to complete the Eagle Creek Trail extension from downtown all the way to the edge of the county. Looking forward as well, the city is developing what we're calling an IAMP, an Infrastructure Asset Management Plan, where we are using a data a data focused approach on how we treat our roadway networks and what we do to them. It's going to be either, we're going to fully reconstruct, we'll do a overlay, or we'll do some of those more minor pavement preservation techniques. And so we'll be able to actually raise the health of our roadway network with this IAMP program that we're implementing.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. So a little bit earlier, you mentioned bidding out projects. I know that this is a question that we get from residents a lot. Could you talk to us a little bit about the lifespan of a construction project from the second DPW says, okay, we want to repave this road, to that ribbon cutting with that shiny new asphalt? Could you talk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, it's not a one size fit all answer. I'll tell you that. Project development, depending on the size and complexity, can last anywhere from one construction season to a project developing 4 or 5 years. Talking about the 4 or 5 year kind of project development, those are a lot larger projects that we do, and we usually get federal or state dollars for those projects, which has other regulations and commitments tied to the use of those dollars. Like we have to do historic analysis and make sure that all of the federal and state regulations are followed. That takes time. So some projects take years to develop, and others, when we're just using our local dollars and it may not be so complex, we can get done in a season or two. Now, when we get a request or a need for a roadway project, we just don't snap our fingers and a contractor shows up and does the work. There is a bit of planning and engineering needed to be done to make sure that the contractors are going to be building what we need them to build in the way that we want them to build it.
Yeah, and all the design and kind of technicalities that go into that,
yes.
Right? Awesome. Well, thank you for walking us through that. I know it's not a one-size-fits-all approach, but I know that that's something that our residents are definitely curious about. So we have a lot of exciting things coming this year, and one of them I think a lot of our residents have already noticed, which was our solid waste transition. LRS is now our primary hauler, in addition to our DPW solid waste crews. Can you tell us a little bit about how that transition has been for the department and what is left to do?
Yeah, you could probably tell us all about the transition.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. The transition was well underway when I walked in the door a year ago. I excited to hear, we had a new motivated vendor, somebody fresh to the market here in Indianapolis, and they've been really good partners with us through this entire process. We did go through interviews with the potential vendors, and LRS stood out for their focus on sustainability, how they were regionally already established. So, it made sense. And quite frankly, they were a better deal, financially for us. This fall, we started the rollout of our trash carts to approximately 160,000 households throughout the county. This is no small feat at all. To be able to deploy that many units in the short amount of time we did. So I'm very proud of the work we did. It's not something that we do every day, right? We don't. That's not an operation that somebody has expertise in, right? So I think with that being said, our teams have done a great job, and we continually to increase the level of our service going forward and making sure that we're addressing any of those issues that our residents are having with any of that transition stuff.
And for a little bit of background there, so we made the decision to make all of the carts in the county look the same. So they're all that gray DPW branded cart. So I know that the transition to those trash carts was a bit of a headache. It required a lot of communication, both to residents and from residents, but it's hopefully the first and last time we make that transition.
Yeah.
So we appreciate residents' patience with us as we worked through that transition, for sure.
And I'll add, with this transition too, and I mentioned the sustainability portion that LRS is committed to, that, we'll be seeing in a couple years the rollout of universal recycling throughout the county, which is huge for us, for the city, for the state, and just make us a better place to live.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Along those same lines, we've been talking about an issue where residents are letting us know what they're seeing out in their communities and how we can be best communicating with them, best addressing their needs. So going forward, how do you recommend that residents keep up with what Indy DPW is doing?
That's a great question. And, I started off the podcast talking about all of the functions of DPW, and, we are kind of affecting everybody, every facet of everybody's life.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we don't have enough people to be out everywhere identifying every issue that might happen. So I encourage folks to get more information via social media.
Mm-hmm.
That means Facebook or Instagram. Any news outlets, we do a lot of press releases. And also we have the Request Indy app, which residents can use to report issues like potholes or their trash not getting picked up, or any of the issues that the city is responsible for addressing. The Request Indy app is a really good place to start, or the Mayor's Action Center is another really good place to start to make those issues known. Mm-hmm. So that we can address them.
Yeah, and so speaking of, I oversee the Mayor's Action Center, which, for those that don't know, that is the call center component. Request Indy is our app, our online service. The Mayor's Action Center, if you call in, you're going to get one of our customer service representatives on the phone. And I will tell you, I would say the majority of the calls that we take have something to do with DPW. So how important is it for DPW to hear from residents, and how does that inform the work that you all do?
No, again, I alluded to a moment ago. We don't have enough eyes and ears on it within our own staff to make sure that everything's running as smoothly as it possibly can. So that interaction with the general public is very important. And believe me, we do hear you. The requests or the complaints don't go to a vacuum where they're not getting addressed. But yeah, that communication is needed for this whole system to keep going.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I think to round us out, I want to know, what are some frequent questions you and DPW workers get asked? Whether you're out with friends, talking to residents, just out doing your job. I know that all of our crews are out working in the community every day, and they're talking with residents. What are you hearing most?
I mean, the most I hear about would be the condition of the roadways.
I'm shocked.
That is the number one concern, question, comments that I get from my friends, my family, is the condition of the roadways. And, it's a challenge to keep up with the amount of work that we have to do on a day-to-day basis. And our staff and our contractors are doing the best they can to get it done. When it comes to potholes, I always encourage people to slow down, leave some space between them and the vehicle before them, in front of them, and try to dodge the potholes without getting in the other lane. But patience with us. We'll get to those things. Use the Request Indy app to notify us, and we'll get it done.
Yeah. And you alluded to this earlier, but I think one of the things I love most about DPW is the tangible impact it has on our residents' lives. And that That means the condition of the roadways, traffic signals, those community-powered infrastructure projects. Those are resident-led, and it's ways to change the infrastructure within your community based on, the needs of the residents. It's solid waste services and trash pickup and a lot of the things that we take for granted, but are daily operations of city government that our residents rely on.
Yeah.
So thank you, and thank Team DPW for all of the critical work that they do. This has been such a wonderful conversation, and I'm so excited to have you on the cast today.
Thank you, Natalie. Yeah.
That's all the time we have for this installment of the Circle City Cast. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to join us next month. In the meantime, you can keep in touch with the city by following us on Instagram, Facebook, and X at City of Indianapolis. Until next month, this is your host, Natalie Van Dongen, signing off. Have a great day, Indy.